everyone, it's Bren here and welcome back to Gigi the Garden Girl. What you just saw there was a garden harvest which I'll be sharing with you this week, and at the end of the harvest I'll be chatting with you a little bit about my plans for autumn, winter vegetables that I'm going to grow here in my garden. So let's get straight into it now. Let's start off by harvesting tomatoes. Lots of the tomato plants are starting to show signs of disease. I just got a bit overly excited there for a second, thinking that was a giant tomato in there, but it's actually a pumpkin that's made its way into this garden bed. I've got lots of these Tommy Toe tomatoes. Here's some pineapple tomatoes. Oh, look what I spotted on this one. A little snail, and it is blemished, but that's quite normal if you're growing, you know, a lot of different types of edibles organically. They're not going to look as perfect as they do in the shops. Looks like the snails are having lots of fun here in my garden. A lot of Thai pink egg tomatoes here. Here's another handful, and they all do have a little bit of dirt on them, and that's because the plant has basically kind of drooped over from the weight of all the tomatoes. You can see them all in here. There's, oh, I don't know how many, a lot. It's a bush variety tomato plant, so they produce all at the same time, and I'm just waiting for the rest of them to ripen. And some of them here have fallen on the ground. I'll pick those ones up as well. These are called orange currant. Green zebra. And I actually can't find any more of these on the plant, so I'll have another quick look, but I think this might be my only one. I just found two more. I've come down the back where there's a few more tomato plants. Blueberry tomatoes, and there's a few ripened on the plant. The plants down the back here are lots of currant and cherry tomatoes, like this orange currant tomato, and it's really hard to grab the tomatoes before the birds do. Plus, it's difficult to bag up every single truss of tomatoes on it. A few more white cherries. That looks like it for today with the tomato harvest. Let's get picking some other things. I've grabbed another basket, ready to harvest some more food. Starting off here out in the front garden. There's 3 different types of summer squash in here. Some crookneck squash. This one here is the green button squash. Yellow button squash. Over here at the vining crop this week, I harvested my very first Queensland blue pumpkin. I'll show you it later on, but firstly I want to check up on the Satamelon. The good news is that it's still there, but it's not ripe enough to harvest. And just beside this Satamelon, I noticed another pimply squash hidden there under the overgrown grass. Last week we took a look at one of these, but this is a much better example of what the warts can look like on the outside of the skin. It's so gnarly, but really, really cool. So here's one of the Japanese Fitsu pumpkins, and the first one that ever developed on the plant is beside it, and this is ready to harvest. For me, there's a few signs that it's ready. Firstly, the leaves around the pumpkin have started to die off. The skin is a more vibrant colour, and if you try and pierce your nail into it, you get a lot of resistance. Plus, on this one here, the stem has started to dry up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this off at the point where the stem meets the main vine. It's just here where I'm going to cut it, and you need to make sure that you use a really sharp knife. Oh, I get extra excited when I grow something that I've never tried or seen before. It is so pretty. I'm in the overgrown back garden again because there's more food to harvest here. At the dahlia patch, quite a few flowers have opened up this week. Let me show you some of them. Down here I have these lemon cucumbers. Behind where that lemon cucumber is growing, I have this patch of amaranth love lies bleeding. I have mentioned before, but one of the great things about this plant is the leaves are actually edible and taste very similar to spinach. So while I'm waiting for my silver beet to grow, I'll be able to harvest lots of these leaves to cook with. I'm over here now near where all the zinnias are to harvest this Armenian striped cucumber. And you know what, I have to pick some flowers as well, so I'll grab a big handful of these zinnias. Here's a nice colourful bunch, and I'm really going to miss these once the frost comes. In a few weeks' time, I'll have to go in and grab a vase for these flowers. So despite my best intentions, I had mentioned last week that I was going to get started on my seed sowing for autumn and winter. I still actually haven't got around to doing it yet. So I did go out and I bought a few little punnets of vegetable seedlings just to give me that little bit of a head start. Let me show you what I purchased. Here we have some kale, pak choi and silver beet. I chose this one as opposed to, you know, just your standard silver beet because this one has lots of different colours on its stems. You've got yellow, pinks and reds, and it adds a lot of colour and interest to the winter garden. I always grow pak choi in my garden, usually the purple one, and these are green. I'll just divide these up and separate them. I'll probably put some of these in containers for the moment because I don't have that much space in the garden beds. I need to clear them out and make a bit more room, but these are wonderful to put into stir fries and chicken noodle soup as well. And finally, there's some kale here. This one is a mixed pack, so I'm hoping to get, you know, some Russian red kale and other varieties in it. I can't really tell at the moment what they are because they're still quite small. I'll probably divide these out now and try and pot them on before I put them out in the garden. I'm going to put a list down below in the description of what I can sow here in autumn, winter, as well as spring and summertime. Now, depending on where you live around the world, this list may vary slightly. So I'll also put a link to a website that I really like to refer to, and it gives you a more detailed idea of what you can grow in your specific area at what time of year. And if you live here in Australia, I will put down a list of seed companies, online seed companies, which I have purchased from in the past and I recommend. It goes without saying, none of this is sponsored or anything, so it's just purely on what I recommend and what I use, and you may find it helpful. Well, thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I hope you all stay safe this week and healthy, and I'll see you all again next Friday.